Hello everybody, BigPlanes here. After a few months of no update videos or any new projects on this channel, I am excited to today bring you the first in a series of update videos for a brand new project, which is SAM 26000, better known as President John F. Kennedy's presidential transport. Now, before I get into that, I would like to give a shout out and a thanks to all of my patrons who are supporting the channel over on Patreon. Thank you to everybody who supports the channel over on Patreon. You guys are one of the main reasons why I'm able to continue to build these large projects. So yeah, if you want to go support the channel over on Patreon, I will leave a link in the description below. So, finally, a project. I know it's been a few months. I've been busy with other things other than Lego, but I am excited to start a brand new project. Now, I announced this all the way back in July, I believe, maybe August, that I would be building SAM 26000, which is John F. Kennedy's, or at least most famously associated with President Kennedy. It also flew multiple other presidents since then, but this was most famously associated with John F. Kennedy's presidential transport, the one that you will see in pictures such as the inauguration of LBJ, and of course that's infamously associated with the assassination. So now that we've gotten past a brief history of this thing, I will cover that a lot more in the final video, or the walkthrough video for this, but yeah, exciting. So I have finally started actually working on it. I announced it a few months ago, but I have actually started putting bricks together for it now. So the first thing that I really did when I started this was I started on the engines. So these engines, these are the JT3D engines, which are the later model. I'm pretty sure these were the most, I've got to readjust my grip here. I'm pretty sure these were the most recent of the jet engines. These would be turbofan, low bypass turbofan engines that were fitted to 707s. Many earlier 707s had the turbojet engines, so these were a bit of an upgrade, even though still late 1950s, early 60s technology, but these were sort of leading edge and state-of-the-art back then. So I have built most of the engines. I'm still waiting for a few pieces for some of them, like for the exhausts here and whatnot. But other than that, the engines are done. And those were the first thing I built because I wanted them to really be striking, which is why I went out of my way to purchase the authentic chrome and metallic silver Lego pieces for this model, because I wanted them to really pop and make this really have a presence whenever it's sitting in a room, because I wanted the chrome and silver pieces to stand out. And I really think it is a beautiful combination of having the chrome and silver in conjunction with all of the light aqua pieces that are going to be on this model as well. So you can see some of them already on the engines here, and there will also be plenty of light aqua pieces towards the front of the plane. If you've seen my Air Force One VC-25 presidential transport, it's the current Air Force One 747 that I did a few years ago, you will recognize some of these pieces and some of the color schemes for this. That's because the current Air Force One was indeed modeled off of this one, which was the original. So I will go into the history of the paint scheme of this plane in a later video, but for right now, this is pretty interesting, and it's one of the reasons why I chose to go with this model was because of its striking livery. So I will now I'll finally get to the more exciting bits, which is the wing. And I know not a lot of people usually watch these early videos because, well, the wing isn't really that exciting, but I think it is because there's a lot of engineering that goes into this, so I'm going to try to get a better angle on this for you guys. But yeah, you can see here that I have just sort of the rough outline of this. I have the wing box assembly all figured out, and the dihedral has been set. So all of that is working out really well so far, and I'm just sort of slowly but surely working my way out towards the outboard sections of the wings. But you can see here that I haven't really attached any flaps yet. This is the most inboard flap that will go right here, and there goes an engine. This will come out and slide kind of like a Fowler flap. The whole flap assembly on this one is going to be very interesting because the wing has 3 different trailing edge angles. It has a 90-degree, I'll just move this out of the way here. It's got a 90-degree parallel angle right here, and then it angles slightly more here, and then it's pretty constant out towards the wing tip. So that will be very tricky to get all of those angles correct while maintaining a smooth look on the model. But I'm down for a challenge, so I'm going to try my best to make that as accurate as possible. So I'm going to flip this over, and you can see that I have a minifigure for scale, someone who looks like they're straight out of the early 1960s. So we will flip this thing over to show you what's going on underneath, since it is maybe a little more interesting from the bottom. So I'll have to prop this up with an engine so it doesn't crush the wings. So you can see here that this is what it looks like underneath. Not as clean as it is from the top, but it is not done yet. When this is done, this will look significantly cleaner, but I thought I would show you an update while it's still in a little bit of a messy state under here, so you can see a little bit more of the details about how this is actually built. But you can see here that the leading edge is attached to the center wing box section, which is right here, and that this big gap right here, these two holes, are where the main undercarriage is going to go for this. And the undercarriage on this one, or the landing gear, is going to be rather difficult because most planes of this size, this is sort of an odd size too, because it's a little bit bigger than most normal narrow bodies. Especially the wing on this thing is significantly larger than you would expect from a modern narrow body jet. Early jet age jets had much larger wings than they do now. They're significantly more efficient now, but that's a whole different story. But for this case, this has a quad bogie, whereas most planes of this size have a single bogie, or 2 wheels per bogie. So it's going to be a little trickier to fit them in here. I'm going to have to cut out bigger wheel wells, basically is what this is, and just hope that it fits. So yeah, I'll keep you up to date on how that goes. I'm targeting retractable landing gear on this. Of course, that's basically what I expect from all of my models, but yeah, no different with this one. And you can see just in front, just forward of the wheel wells, is the primary wing box assembly. So you can see here that I'm going to try to get you as close in as possible with keeping the camera on focus, but you can see there's 2 layers there. So there's 2 things holding this in place. There's the very bottom layer, which is a hinge, and then there's another hinge right here that pushes it out slightly more. Everything is legal, nothing's being overstrained, and it gives a very nice dihedral assembly. So that's good. It shouldn't sag or collapse or anything like that, because I've used this on multiple other airplanes and I know that it works, so I'm confident that it won't break down on me. But yeah, you can see that this is how this works, and this will all be covered down here with tiles and slopes and all the like, so it'll look very smooth and nice and very pretty. But this is generally just how it looks underneath. Still in the early stages, but still I thought it was worth sharing with my audience, because I know a lot of you guys like to see what this looks like. So that's probably going to wrap it up for this one. Not a super detailed video, or not a super intense video, since it's still very early in the build process. But I'm hoping to have more updates for you very soon on this. I want to move very quickly on this model because time is of the essence, and I would like to get this finished before the year is out. So that's the goal I'm setting for myself. I guess I'll see if I'm actually able to stick to it. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this one. I look forward to bringing you guys more videos on the 707 presidential transport very soon. That's it for this one, and bye for now.